All right, we're live. We have reloader 762, first one in the house. And looks like he's processing 45 ACP brass. That is totally awesome. I love it. And then we have Andy 79Z28. He is he is has brass in the oven, so he's baking. Andy is baking today. So anyway, welcome. And I'm ready to play with some dies. Um, we're going to get some really, these are incredible dies. Every time I reload with these Lyman dies, I love them. And I absolutely love the press. So um, we have Jay Bruce. Hey, good to see you there, brother. So I'm gonna, as I'm going through this, just tell you everything I like about everything that I'm going to be working with. I really like the Lyman All-American 8. I think it's a great press. You know, when they came out with it, we got MSB 9021 in the house. When they came out with it, you know, I really thought, man, I'd like to get that on the channel. I want to get that on the channel. I want to get that on the channel. And I thought that, you know, but I thought, no, I don't, you know, it's kind of like I don't really know. It's a brand new setup. I don't know how good it's going to be. And so I waited, and you know, they were trucking along. Didn't hear bad stuff about it, so I eventually went ahead and pulled the trigger on it, and I love it. I really do. We got Uncle Milty is in the house. Good to see you there, brother. The reason you got the notification is because I set it up for a later time. If I do a live stream at the spur of the moment and I just go live, you won't get a notification. It just doesn't have time to generate those. Anyway, so I'll do roll call when everybody comes on. I'll talk about the Lyman All American 8. I really like it. It's a good, a solid setup. I've had a lot of guys asking me if um, I have taken my turret head off and kind of like sanded it down for like better fit. Well, I'm here to tell you, I've never even really taken that off. Um, it it works. Um, you know, the more I used it, the smoother it got, and any inconsistencies just seemed to work right out. You know, in the beginning, I could see some inconsistencies. I really could, but once I used this thing for a while, you got to give it a chance. Once I used it, I mean, everything just dials right in. Um, and so the consistency on, um, you know, seating the bullet and the crimp, it's really good. So I would give it an A plus there. We have Kenneth Donaldson in the house, Michael Turner, and good to have you guys. Another thing I really like about the Lyman All American 8, I like the offset of the handle. The handle is a little offset, so I kind of like that. It's really, I like the ease of it. It's easier on my shoulder. You know, I'm a big guy. Instead of being here in the middle, I'm kind of off to the right, and so you know it's better fit to me that way. And the other thing is you can move the handle from right to left. So if you're left-handed, you can use it either way. So I think that that's um, pretty well designed there. It's solid, cast iron, made right here in the United States. The 8-position tool head, fabulous. You know, fabulous. You know, there's different You know, the Redding's got 7, this has 8. I can utilize them in different setups and stuff. I really like, one thing I like about the All-American 8. I'll give them this. It would be very convenient to own 2. You could have one as a small setup for, or setup for small primers, another one large primers. So when you swap your turret heads out, you don't have to worry about priming system. So this being large primers, I have 44 mag and 45 auto on here. So I don't have to mess with the priming system, and I can get two full 4 die setups on this 8-hole turret. So it is very well thought out. I like that. It's got 2 holes in the turret head. So you can clock it to where the handle is just to the left of your primer tube. Unless you're left-handed, then you would clock it 1 hole off. Okay. Now something else I'll show you. You notice that I popped that in there like that. I really like this. They have this detent ball on there, so it's not going to come out. I like that. Perfect setup. So these are just some of the things I like. It's a nice, big, and massive. The priming system works. I use my priming system on this. I never hand prime. I never do an alternative source of hand priming unless I'm using my Lee bench prime, or I forget what they call it. But that's just for certain applications that I'm priming for, like say my 300 PRC or something like that. I'll just, unless I'm in the mood. Sometimes I'll load something up on my Lee single stage press, so then I'll use their little priming system for that. But past that, all the equipment that I use, I utilize the priming system on them. I don't have any complaints about this. You know, yeah, it works. You know, it works. I think the hardest thing for me, because I have so much different equipment, they all kind of have their own personality. So when I go from one piece of equipment to the other, I have to get myself in kind of a mode of how you run its personality, so to speak. On the Redding, on the RAM, I can, it's machined to where it kind of ramps down. This doesn't ramp down, and so you have less of a space to get the priming RAM in there. But we humans don't give ourselves a lot of credit. If you just think about it, concentrate, you get pretty fast at it. So what I'm saying is, you just get used to it, And so I think the priming system's great. I like it. I like the ease of pulling it off and swapping over from large to small. I really like that. I think that the stainless steel Pro die sets, they're fabulous. Lyman, they only complimented their equipment lineup. There's nothing short on these in the way of design. And the other thing, these dies, they are purposely designed for thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of rounds. That's some guys say, man, those are expensive, but they're designed. These are really designed for a progressive setup. Notice they have the smaller lock rings, which I really like because you can use these are actually my favorite lock rings. If I could have one lock ring on all my dice, that's the lock ring it would be. They're just machine perfect fit for a wrench. They're nice and small, easy to tighten down. It doesn't take a lot of torque to get them tightened down. So that's pretty much my favorite lock ring right there. Out of all the manufacturers, out of all the manufacturers of lock rings, I actually have little complaints with all of them. I don't have one complaint with the Lyman. Perfect. Talk about keeping it simple. So now I'm going to do roll call, and we're going to get into setting these dies up, and they're going to be great. Andy says, I never prime on press, but then again, I am processing 500 at a time. I prime on the press, whether I'm doing a handful or 1,000 at a time. Sometimes when I only priming a few, I'll set my little Lee up and use that. So, okay, I want everyone to type. Type your, let's see. I want you to type your favorite kind of food. Is it Chinese? Is it Mexican? Is it Italian? Vietnamese? Whatever it is. I know what mine is. After everyone's done, I'm going to tell you what my favorite food is in the world, and I want to hear what yours is. So, okay. See, Miss Highboy, she's cheating. She's like uh, Italian and Mexican, but she's got great taste, great taste. So Andy, he says steak, cooked rare. I'd say that's, yeah. Jay Bruce, steak and potatoes. Oh, here's a good one. Uncle Milty, seafood, any, yeah. I'm with you there, brother. Lev W, Western. Oh, Western foods. Haha. MSB 9021, seafood. Here too. Rollo Tomase, Italian. I know I didn't get your name right, but it's good to have you. Idaho Rogers, United States Marine Corps. Brother, it's good to have you. Mexican food, love blue and orange presses and football teams. Oh, yeah, brother. But we got to do something different, don't we? Our team is lacking. Kenneth Donaldson, steak cook on the grill. Oh, my goodness. Motor 953, steak and seafood. He's the kind of man that doesn't short himself. Okay, we have 16 on, and my favorite food is barbecue. All right, here we go. And right now I have just a small little pork shoulder. It was smoked for just right at 2 hours, and I've got a really heavy, thick rub on it, and I got it wrapped all up tight, and it's just smoking at 200 degrees. It'll be nice and moist. And how we're going to have that tonight is we got some fresh tortillas made locally. We're going to do tacos. Why not, right? So, and we'll have them tomorrow night too. All right. So, okay. I gotta. Okay. I'm going to show you what I really love about these. These dies are very well marked. If you had a turret stand with multiple turrets and these dies, you can see clearly There's my 44 crimp, seat. They're marked really easy. That well done, well done. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and loosen all these dies. And first, I got to talk about the bullet I'll be working with. So I put some links below to Missouri Bullet, awesome company. I love their bullets, but I also really like their magic alloy. These bullets right here are straight from their magic alloy, straight from. These are with my Seiko mold, my Redding mold. I forget which number. I think it's mold 68. Let me hang on. Let me grab my catalog. Hang on. I want to make sure I give you the right mold. So I'll look at this real quick. On my chart, yes, this is mold number 68. It's a 200 grain semi-wad cutter. It's a beveled base bullet. If I only had one mold for bullets, or if I could only have one mold for this bullet, this is what it would be. It's a 200 grain semi-wad cutter, and it's bevel based. The base is beveled on it. Okay, you can see right there. It's having a hard time focusing. These are incredibly accurate. These things are so precise at a range of velocities. You want to kind of load your semi-auto down for a little less recoil. It just seems like whatever I point at, I hit. The weight is right on them. The semi-wad cutter, if you're going to shoot, paper, it leaves a perfect hole, so you get an instant report of where your shots are. Excellent bullet. Okay, so that's the bullet I'm using. You can go to Missouri Bullets. I put a link in the description box below. You can order. I have a box of their number ones. That's their number ones. They are high-tech coated, and they've got a Bernil of 18. Okay, they're fabulous. Okay, so that's the bullet I'm using. These I have casted. I've been casting this bullet now. I have several thousand, actually more than several thousand casted, and I'll probably do another 1,000, and then I'm going to switch over to 9. I'll do some 9. So that's the bullet I'm using. And so now we're going to get our dies set up. And the first one is the resize die. This is a killer die. I mean, really killer. This is, I'm going to say this loosely, pretty much a full-size, full-length die. And it's carbide. Somewhere here I have a flashlight. I'm going to let you all see just what's in this die. Oh, there's my flashlight right in front of me. So this baby, it's carbide all the way in. I don't really know if it goes quite the full length of the case, but it's pretty close, really close. And it's 100% carbide. So you're going to be able to run this die for thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds, and you're going to get a full length resize out of it. Now, the thing with this die is what Lyman says is when you adjust this and you touch it to the shell holder or your shell plate, you want to back it out, say, enough that you can get a matchbook inside of it. So you're not using this as a cam over like a true full-length die, but you are getting this to where it's sizing it to where the mouth is going to have a smaller diameter than the base, and it's almost the full length of the case. That is, the insert is. So it's a great die. The other thing I like about this is, you know what, like we can universal decap, which I do a lot of that. But on this one, let me show you how this is put together. So there's your decap rod. It's massive. It's just thick, and so it basically goes into the die like that, and then this spring, and this is a nice heavy spring. They've done a nice job. It's kind of like a dual sprung spring if you look at it. So you just put that spring in there like that, and then you thread it in just like that. So one thing I'll point out that I like about this, I want to tell you guys this, okay? So I've been using this now about a year. I've really studied them. I mean, I pay attention and I try to get real world hands-on, okay? I really like this. If you had these on a progressive setup, you could pull that inside apart and clean it without really adjusting the die. So you could pull it apart, clean it, put it back in, and you never adjusted the die body. The same with your turret, okay? So it's very well done. So I'm going to show you how Lyman tells you to set this up. Now, we better get in here, guys, because I'm going to try and be as precise as I can. So get your die started, run your handle down, and what you're going to do is you're going to run this die down. We got Walter Bunning. You're going to see it come down underneath the ram there. And now I touched it, okay? I just touched it. What Lyman says is back it off where you can just get a matchbook in there and it's set. That's what they say. Because what they don't want you doing, they don't want any cam over on this. You don't want to, this is a die on that carbide, you don't want to crack it, okay? So this is how I do it, and I touch it, then I just back it off. That's how I do it, okay? So now, here we have a nickel-plated cartridge case. Lev W is in the house. AR gun 1776, Curtis Long. So we have a nickel-plated cartridge case. Okay, nickel. What's the deal with nickel? Nickel, back in the day, when you carried your cartridges in your belt loops, it would this green tarnish. Well, when you run with nickel, now you can put the nickel in the leather belt loops for as long as you want, and it won't hurt it. It won't corrode. Okay. The other thing is This is really, really nice in a low light condition to verify that your pistola is L-loaded. So there you go. So we've got a nickel case. Now, the nickel tends to be a little harder. You'll notice like on the big bore revolver stuff, Smith & Wesson 500, stuff like that. Within one firing, you'll see these split at times. There's so much pressure, and nickel doesn't like to expand or retract like pure brass. And keep in mind, that's brass, but it's nickel plated. So we're going to go ahead and run it up, and we're going to resize it. At the same time, I'm going to decap it. And what I like about this decapper is it literally kicks the primer out. So listen carefully. Here we go. There. And it catches the primer. This primer cup works great. I don't have any problems missing my primer. So there we go. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to chamber check it, and we're fine. We have a proper fit. Yeah, nickel plate cases do split quickly. So there we go. We've resized it, and while we're at it, I'll go ahead and resize this one. Now we're going to talk about the expander die. You can't appreciate these dies till you got them in your hand. Another thing nice about this, they're stainless steel. They're not going to rust. Okay. There's the lock ring. I love them. Excellent job on the lock ring. Okay. So you're going to notice something. They're really easy to take apart. So as you see, it has a pretty aggressive flare. Okay, pretty aggressive. Easy to clean. Now, hang on. I have to show you this. Let me grab something. Okay. So every once in a while, I'll get someone that's got the All-American 8. And they'll get a hold of me, and they're like, well, I'm having issues, and I'm seeing changes in this and that and this and that. We get to talking, and I say, check all your dies. Okay. There. So all the more you have to tighten it, but make sure that stays tight. Okay. Because it will come loose on you. There we go. So now we're going to expand the mouth of the cartridge case. And I'm telling you that it's got an aggressive pitch to it. So it's, you know, most of these you can dial down, you know, quite a ways. This one, you're going to dial it down, and it's going to flare rather quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the cartridge case. I'm getting about 66, or right in that. So now what I'm going to do is going to run the cartridge case up, On this one, the cartridge case won't enter all the way into the die, okay? And the small amount that I did, I've already belled it 3/1000ths. So now, at this point in the game, you're going to go like 1/16 to 1/8 of a turn, and you're going to keep measuring. There, got another 1/1000th and a half. You're going to see that you're going to get a lot of expansion really quick. Okay? As you see, it's expanding. So we're at about 65, 66. I want this to be around 77. So I want to be about 12 to 13 thousandths over. I'm at 74. I need 3 more thousandths. I'm still there. I'm reading comments as I go. So I'm at 75. See how I'm moving it like a 1/16 of a turn each time? You don't want much. This is a super aggressive die. A little turn will go a long way. I'm at 76 and a half. Now, I want a little more, and I'm going to tell you why. There. I could feel that one. I'm right at 77. Here's why I wanted that at least 12 thousandths over. Your 45 ACP is a .451 diameter bullet, but these being cast, they're .452. If you don't expand that enough, when you go to seat the bullet, it's going to be very hard to seat the bullet into there because of the neck tension will be so tight, and you're going to squash the case, and it's going to fatten it out. Just enough you won't see it, but it won't chamber. When you get done crimping, if it won't chamber, okay, now listen to me. When you size it, you check it in the chamber. But after you crimp it, if it won't chamber, I would go back and put a little more flare on it. Just a thousandths or two is all you need, and really no more. And I'll talk a little bit more about the case gauge and your dummy rounds not fitting. Okay, so now that we have this where we want it with just the right amount of expansion, we're going to run the cartridge case up, and now we're going to tighten this die down, the lock ring. There's my lock ring. Use my simple little wrench. Doesn't take much. So now we have our resize and expander die set up. And now the the bullet seating die. It's all loose on there. I got to think about this one. Okay. So this is how this works. This die is set to where you can crimp or no crimp. So we're going to set it up so we don't crimp. Put a case in the shell holder that you've resized. Run it on up. Now we're going to take this die and we're going to thread it down. See, I really like that. It says 45 ACP seat. You know what's on that turret head. It's too easy. Not all the dies are marked, but enough of them are marked enough that you know which dies are which. So you know which side of the tool head you need to be on. That's very well done. So anyway, I'm going to run it down. There. I'm just now touching the mouth of the case. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it out, and I'm going to turn it to where we can read the micrometer. And that's where I'm going to tighten it down. Okay? So now what we're going to do, we're going to take our micrometer, and I'm going to go all the way up to 5. It'll go past 5, but I don't go that far. 3. And really, if it's me, I really don't go to 5. I just know how far up I need to go to come back down, but for the video we'll go all the way up. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this case that's been resized, I'll set it aside, and we're going to take this case that has a bit of a flare on it. Okay, and as you see, we have a pretty nice fit for our nice blue bullet, right? So I'm going to put the case into the shell holder, and I'm going to set the bullet into place. And one of the things that this die does is it will pre-align the bullet somewhat. This is a cast bullet, so it's a little more clumsier. But for the most part, this die is going to pre-align the bullet to eliminate excessive run out. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring it up into the seater, and I'm going to run this down until I touch the bullet. And that's why I said for me, I don't always go all the way up to 5 on the micrometer, because right there I'm touching. So, you know, if I just take it up to almost 4, I know I can run the bullet up there without touching anything. So I'm going to come down here like this. I'm going to touch that bullet. I'm going to drop this, the shell holder. I'm just going to soft seat it like that. And I'm soft seated. So the cartridge overall length for this bullet is 1.250. I'm going to come over here like this, and I'm going to take a measurement. I'm at 1.319. So I'm going to go 10 thousandths just for fun. Look at that. That's awesome. So I have 60 thousandths to go. So if I go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. I'm going to back it off just a thousandth. Just a thousandth, just to see where this is going to come in at. I'm 3 thousandths high. So if I take this and I go 1, 2, 3, and I seed it, bam. I love that die. That is what you want. Nail it the first time. Numbers don't lie. Okay. So now what we got to do is we got to get our crimp die set up, and I'm going to do this different. I don't do this anywhere like the instructions say. You can go per your instructions, and I would actually tell you to do that, but this is how I do this. So I'm going to run the shell holder all the way up, and I just run the die all the way down till I touch the shell holder, and now I'm going to back it off. Wait, there's the shell holder. Now I'm going to back it off till I see. Okay, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it different. Just bear with me. I'm touching the shell holder, and now I'm just going to back it off a little bit like that. I'm going to tighten it down. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this micrometer well, I don't even have to go all the way. I'm just going to run it up a little ways. I'm going to take a measurement. Ocean 374, it's good to see you. I'm going to take a measurement of right at the rim there. Okay. I'm like 72 to 74 right in there. Okay. Now I'm going to run it up. And I'm going to turn this down. Ah, I feel it. Okay, it's still not crimping yet. Still not crimping yet. I'm getting it. Bam. All right. I'm going to show you this. I told you I'd show you something about crimping. I'm at 70, and if I wanted to, I could put a little more crimp on it. Okay. You're going to have to play with it. Perfect. It's a cast bullet. It's a little more fatter by 1,000th. So when you're running your crimp die down and it's taking you forever, this is what I would do. Okay, what I was doing, you couldn't see me. I run the micrometer down, and then I take a measurement, and then I put it into my case gauge, okay? And it's riding a little proud in that case gauge, but I'm watching it by the thousandths. And as I'm budging that down by the thousandths, it's going further into the case gauge, okay? Now, this will help you. See, it's a little high. It's just a little high, okay? What's up with that? It's really simple. You could seat that bullet a little more if you wanted. Just a little more, so it'll seat in a little further. Sorry, my camcorder's blurring out for some reason, and I don't know why. So now, well, let me do this. I'll prove it. You want me to prove it? There's my resize. I expanded. Now I'm going to seat a bullet. I got my, these are, 45 ACP. They're 230 grain round nose off of my Dillon. It's going to probably be about, it's going to be a little lower, by about 50 thousandths, but that's okay. So I seat it and I crimp it. Now watch. Ta-da! See, it'll fit. It'll fit. Now, so this one that I just made, if it doesn't kerplunk hard but it's even, it's a cast bullet. If you wanted to put a little more okay, I'm going to seat it 10 thousandths deeper. Now I mushed it. So anyway, it's hey, Gartho Logistics, thank you very much. It's has to do with, yeah, I got, see, one of the things with the powder coated is you can kind of peel a powder coat over that, so it tends to kind of interfere with what you're trying to do. So anyway, the moral of the story is, if this doesn't seat quite deep enough, it's because maybe you need to seat it a little more. But if it's me, this is me. If it's a little hard to seat, that's okay. Why? These are cast. This is a 16 Bernil hardness. That's going to be closer to a 30 Bernil. So this might not chamber, okay? But that will chamber, okay? So I'm going to show you guys something. Okay. Okay. Do you see how high that's riding? Give me your ear for a moment. Give me your ear. Listen. Perfect. Okay. There we go. Freaking great dies. They're really good dies. So a couple things for you. Once again, once you have your round complete, if it doesn't fit in the case gauge, if it's something you cast and it's a thousandths over, or you bought one from Missouri Bullets, that's okay. Plunk it into your barrel, right? There's another thing. Being a softer cast, you know, the inertia of the slide against it is cast. It's gonna chamber. You'll find. So you just got to experiment with it. So there we go. That's all I've got. And if you guys have questions, I see we have a question about a JC Reloader. I have a flat base hotel question for someone. If anyone has any experience, ask away. We'll see what we can do. So one cool thing about me getting into casting is those, I just throw them in the pot. The lead melts out. These are range cases, so I can at that point I wouldn't once they've been in the lead, just recycle them. So okay, yeah, a steel die would stop that. You're right there. Okay, but maybe not. Maybe not. You know. Oh. Look what Miss Highboy brought me. Oh. You guys wish you were here, huh? You guys wish you were in my shop right now. Oh, she does so good on these, and they're just, oh yeah, they're good. Okay, JC Reloader, ask your question. We'll do our best. I bet you she was in there from scratch on these. Tactical Bud is in the house. JC Reloader is saying, I have a flat base boat tail question for someone, if anyone has any experience. You'd mug me for a nibble of this. Well, you wouldn't have to mug me because she's probably got more in there. A flat base versus a boat tail. Boat tail plays into better coefficiency. It gets the weight of the bullet more towards the nose. They can make it longer. That's one thing. The problem with a boat tail is how they manufacture the bullets. Well, thank you. She is so sweet. She knows me. A boat tail can become shooting grandfather's rifle for hunting. Pre-64 Winchester. Heard that older rifles can shoot better with the flat base than boat tails. Is that reliable? Okay. This is what I would say. I don't know which one's going to perform better. That's a lever action rifle. A lever action rifle, when you run the action, you pull the trigger. It doesn't, your breech face doesn't lock down like a true bolt. Okay. You're only going to get so much accuracy out of that anyway. Boat tail bucks the wind for further distance. The problem with a boat tail is if you hit the bone of an animal, the lead can slip the jacket and defragment, and you lose your animal. Whereas a flat base will hold together for the punch most of the time, provided it's matched to the animal. You don't want, it's got to match the game you're shooting. That's where bullet weight is critical. I'm going to go back up and reread your question because I want to get this right. Shooting grandfather's rifle for hunting. Pre-64 Winchester. Heard that older rifles can shoot better with the flat base than boat tail. So I'm taking that that's a 30-30. Am I correct? Tell me the caliber, and then I will tell you which bullet I will go with. Oh, it's a bolt action. 400 yards, I'd go flat base. The flat base is going to hold together for accuracy in hunting. Hang on, let me read your question here. Heard that older rifles can shoot better with the flat base than boat tail. Oh, 270. Kill deer, that's one of the best deer rifle rounds around. Oh yeah, 400 yards easy. Absolutely, I would be going to base, a flat base without a doubt. Without a doubt. Now, a boat tail is going to give you more accuracy in the wind. It's going to buck the wind. I would say if you get a good Sierra makes some great bullets. It's going to hold, that bullet will hold together on a deer. It's when you start getting into the, like when I went moose hunting, man, for my moose, I used a flat base. But a flat base, in my opinion, is always king for killing the animal because it will hold together better. So, and your rifle, that's a sweet rifle. That's a sweet rifle. Very good rifle. And what's funny on like guns like that, like I was talking to this guy. He's more of an acquaintance than a friend, really. But he said, yeah, the barrel's shot out. I wanted to buy his rifle. I was like, most people don't know what really a shot out barrel is. You know, starts losing accuracy. They immediately say shot out. Man, I bet if he cleaned that and ran some good foul shots, he'd probably clean his shot groups up. Okay, but anyway, that's what I do. 400 yards. That rifle, 400 yards. I'll bet you the average hunter couldn't tell the difference between performance, but the flat base will hold together. So, and you know what you could do? Call Sierra. Sierra, you know what Sierra has? They have every manufacturer's reloading data manual there, and they'll tell you on any bullet. You don't have to be shooting a Sierra. Just call them and say, you know, I'm shooting this bullet, or you know, I'm shooting a Burger, or I'm shooting a Hornady. They don't care, and they'll tell you. Those guys are the pros. They'll tell you. It'd be interesting to know what they say. So anyway, I bet they'd say this cookie looks good. No. Gartho. Oh, there's more. Come, get over here. Hang on. Oh, I was gonna go get some napkins, but she gave me some. Any more questions? But I don't know how to reload. You're very welcome. That's a good question, actually. That's a very good question. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. On a rifle like that, or like my Winchester Model 70 and 30-06, super nice rifle. It's just an over-the-shelf rifle. I think that if you were bench resting that, you might see a little tighter group from one bullet over the other. But for hunting 400 yards off, I would pick that bullet that's going to be the most lethal because of your kill zone. You're not putting a bunch of shots like that. You're just going to put one like that. And today's bullets, modern bullets, are so much better than what they used to be. And what they used to be was, even then, they were totally capable of, you know, total kill zone shots, right? So there is something that we can do as reloaders, and listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because I got guys all the time telling me that I should do this, I should do that. No, not for my 30-06 that I'm going to go out and shoot a moose with. That rifle's only going to give me so much minute of angle, and that's it. It's not barely going to give me a minute. It's a hunting rifle, right? And so really, when I'm hiking and I'm breathing hard, my heart rate's up, and all of a sudden I see, you know, what I'm after, my adrenaline spikes up. That's when you're really going to need a performer of a bullet, because you could pull a bad shot. And so you'll find that your rifle is going to shoot way better than you, way better. So for me, it always goes back to what bullet's going to do the best job for me. That's why I prefer a 30 caliber. Not that the 270 is lacking, because my mother hunted with the 270, and my dad always wanted that back, and she said, "No, it's mine." And so he had a 30-06. My mom had a 270, and so I ended up with the 270 years ago. I wished I would have never got rid of it. The rifle was a great rifle, and it's great, easy to load for. You know, you can find components anywhere. You know, that's a great round. So, but as reloaders, what we can do, you know, keep it simple, stupid. I'm going to tell you this, and this will make sense to a reloader. So I have my 1979 Ford F-250. I can't wait to drive it. I got a few little more things I'm really refining on it, and I'm going to drive it. But the one thing that makes me want to sell that truck is this. Like, I was thinking I'd like to do a custom instrumentation panel, but then I thought, well, if you do that, you might as well rewire the truck. And then I was underneath on the frame thinking, I'd really like to seal this. You know, maybe I had to tear the whole truck down to the frame. And then just one afternoon of doing little simple work in my mind, I'm planning a full frame off on this thing. And now I want to sell it. I'm like, you know, this truck's frustrating me. And I thought, just get it running and enjoy it. And so my buddy come over. We graduated close to the same time. Him and me have always been into vehicles and that kind of thing. And he told me, he said, I couldn't believe it. He said, this is my last restoration. I'm going to sell most of my tools. I'm going to keep my paint guns. I was like, no way. He said, yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't like getting down the ground no more. And he said, the other thing I do, everything I get, I don't know why I have to tear it down to the frame. He says, I used to just enjoy driving them, and that's all I really want to do. I said, yeah, that's where I'm at with my truck. It's like, if I like to fix things, the water pump goes out great. But I don't want to sit there, and next thing you know, you get the thing so nice that you don't want to drive it because it's too nice to drive. So here we have a basic rifle or a basic firearm, and we start overthinking precision for it. Precision has a place, and the amount of precision has its place. My lever action rifle, I'm going to put a whole goblet of precision in that. You know, my hunting stuff, my precision is held down to just what the rifle's capable of. And I'm not going to put anything else into it past that. So it's, if you really want to enjoy shooting, reload to shoot. If you really enjoy reloading, then you can make everything precision, and that's great, right? But if you're going hunting, just a good hard hitting bullet. That never hurt any hunter, a hard hitting bullet, right? So, you know, and you know, when I'm not a big hunter. I'll never claim to fame that. But when I shot my elk with that bullet at about 70 yards, I'm going to go back one day and see really how far it was. It was 2.5 miles out in the wilderness, walking up and down. I'm going to go back and see how far that really was. I think it was closer than I thought. But when I hit that, everyone was saying, well, you need to use this bullet, you need to use that bullet. And I just, and I said, you know what? I'm going to use a flat base. I'm going to knock that moose on the ground. Well, guess what? When I hit my moose, it was a perfect shot, placed properly. And I've always had this saying, if you shoot an animal and he looks at you, don't wait for him to run. Don't give him a chance. So I pulled up on my moose and I shot him. And as soon as I shot him, I re-racked. I didn't stop to see what was going to happen. I shot the moose, re-racked, and came up. And he looked at me, and I went bang. But just as I pulled the trigger, he looked over at the creek, which was down. If I hadn't have done that, he might have went and then fallen into the creek. He wouldn't have ran into the creek because he was done. But if he'd have hit that side in the snow, he'd have slid all the way down and into the creek. And it was just, you know, end of the day, I'd have been cleaning them out in the dark. I was really glad that I chose just a good solid flat base bullet that did the job. And I hit him right. It expanded right. And there's another thing. Brandon, it's good to see you. Anyway, so um, I forgot what I was going to say. Totally blew my mind here. Anyway, we kind of overthink it for what we're trying to do. You know, a boat tail is going to give you way more accuracy the further out you're going. But the further out you're going, the slower that bullet's going to go. And when it hits a big game animal, it's not going to penetrate as much. And if you hit a bone, you're going to slip that bullet out of the jacket. Now your bullet's not really going to perform. And you're going to lose, good chance you lose an animal, you know. And what was funny is when I shot my moose, he had his girlfriend right next to him. She was close to him. And I walked up, and there he was. He looked right at me. And she looked right at me. And oh, I know what I was going to say. I know what I was going to say. So I pulled up, dropped the safety, squeezed the trigger, bam! I hit him. Pulled up, re-racked. He looked at me, and I put my crosshairs each time on the kill zone. That's all I did. I put my crosshairs on the kill zone. I squeezed the trigger. And just as I was pulling up to get my crosshairs on him, he looked towards the creek. And I hit him. Bam! And I was like, he went down, and I was like, man, where did, holy smokes. And then the cow turned and started stomping her hoofs. And I thought, oh no, I don't want to have to shoot her. So I held my rifle, I picked a stone up, and I threw it at her. And then she just like, I'm out of here. And she left. So I went over there and cleaned my moose. And when the packer caught up later, it's a long story, but when he caught up, we were skinning him, and he said, wow, one shot, huh? No, I hit him 2 bullets. And he got looking, he went on the other side of the hide, and my entrance wounds were like that far away, because I aimed for the center of the kill zone. Perfect hit. And the bullet did the rest. So if you can go for that kill zone and you got a good solid flat base, a good expanding bullet, you can't get any better than that. So anyway, so Mom and Dad kind of said something. I don't hunt a lot because I have asthma. I have really bad asthma. At the time I'm going into the fall, my lungs just give out on me, and I got to pace myself at work. And so if I had to go shoot an animal out in the hills, I could go hunting, but I don't want my buddies to have to pack my deer for me. I don't like that. I want to, if I'm going to kill it, I think I need to be working as hard as them. But I wish I could hunt. I do. If I had a 4-wheeler, and the other thing, if I had a camper, to stay in at night, I could have my asthma, my ventilator machine, you know, and my nebulizer. That's what I'm trying to say. Then I could hunt probably, but it's not like I cry. So I don't get all bit out of shape that I don't hunt. But when I was teaching my daughter to hunt, you know, she grew up pulling the trigger. She grew up with fishing poles. She knew that life, and she had asthma too. But I trained her. I taught her the respect of wildlife. Like, she had a doe tag one year, and we saw a doe, and it had a fawn, and she said, "Oh, there's my deer. There's my deer." And I told her, I said, "Do you really want to take her?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what about that fawn?" I told her, if you kill that doe, you're going to sentence that fawn to death, because that fawn will lose its instructor for life and its only protector. And she thought, wow. She said, "No, I don't want to shoot it." I said, "All right, let's go." We went a little further, sat down on a ridge. Up come three really big doe, and she got the biggest one, and there were no fawns ever jeopardized of their mother, right? It just made sense. Now, so on that hunt, after we were so careful to do everything right, and she got her doe, we were on the way home, and these two trucks in front of us, road hunters, which I have no problem with people hunting on the road, but these guys, they brush these three doe up, and what do? They get out of the truck. One of the doe went over, and between four guys, they unloaded their rifles on two doe, hitting them everywhere except the vitals until the last few shots were made within feet away. Those deer went down, they were suffering, and they went up there and shot them point blank. I would say between the, if I remember right, there was 4 hunters got out of a Ford Bronco, and they unloaded 4 bolt action rifles, and I want to say actually one of them was a lever action. Between 4 guys, they emptied all their rifles on 2 doe. They were still alive, and they had to go up there and put them out of their misery. And I mean, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because my daughter looks at me and she says, "That's not what you taught me." I said, no. I said, if those guys would have stopped that truck, they could have got out, smoked some cigarettes, and let those deer calm down, and then place one shot. They would have got all 3 doe then. But no, 4 guys hammering out 2 doe, and if I'd have been fishing game, I would have wrote every one of them up. I would have wrote them all up, period. So anyway, so I don't appreciate guys that don't have ethics when they're hunting. I don't appreciate shooters that go to the desert and shoot trash and leave it. I don't care if you want to shoot trash, whatever you want to shoot. I don't understand why people take television sets out in the desert. I'm sorry, it's not that exciting blowing a television up. It's a television. It's not like, oh, that was really cool. It's like, no, it's just not a television with a hole that I got to haul back somewhere. And I've never even taken I've never done that, right? So we got these guys, and they go out and they shoot trash, and they leave their trash. And guess what they do? They go hunting, right? Stupid. So I'll tell you one of the last times I hunted. This was like one of the last times I hunted. I took my wife, Miss Highboy, hunting. She had never really went deer hunting. And I told her, I said, I know where this buck's at. I called him the Mutual of Omaha buck. He was that one. Huge muley. Oh boy, he was huge, and he knew it. Well, where he was when you stopped at the road to get ready to hike, if you just kind of moved over and looked about 700 yards up where the hills kind of came together, he would stand there and look all the way down, and you could just make out his racks. Okay. So sure enough, her and me, we get up there an hour before it was dark, and we're having our coffee, and I said, okay, hop on out. So we hopped out, and we tiptoed up 25 yards, and we stopped. I said, now you wait, just wait. We waited, and just as the sun was coming up there at the top, there he came. You can see his huge racks. And Miss Highboy, she saw it. She's like, oh, yeah, that's who we're going to get today. So we got to do a good job of stalking. And so we did. We got within 300 yards. 300 yards. And he was just grazing. He popped his head up, and he was just grazing. And all of a sudden, we hear these two guys talking. Blah, 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 blah. I look all the way down where we came. They're just walking, talking. And I don't want to tell them to shut up because I don't want to scare my deer away. Right? I'm like, what the? Guys, I'm getting pissed. I'm getting really pissed. And all of a sudden, our deer's head pops up and he takes off. He goes over the hill and we hear bang. Someone got my deer. Because these two guys weren't sportsmen. You know, when you get out of the car, you know how you close the door quiet? Quiet. No. People don't do that no more. They just close the door. It goes all the way up, you know. And I'm thinking, I bet these guys got cologne on. Oh, I was so pissed. I was pissed off, you know. So we had buck tags, you know, and there was so many hunters. And they were convenient hunters. It was daylight and they're pulling up in their trucks. They weren't there at 5 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning. They're convenient hunters. They're getting out, and now you can hear them, you know, down there talking. And I said, this is so stupid. This is so stupid. These guys are everywhere. So I told her, I said, well, the hunt's not over. You want to do something fun? She said, yeah. I said, you want to see how close we can get to some doe just for fun? Just for fun. She said, yeah. I said, come on. So we hiked and we went up to what I call the saddle. Now, okay, where the Mutual Omaha buck was, that's the bowl. Then if we go, you know, a little over yonder, that's called the saddle. What the saddle is the hunters shoot the doe and they come down the saddle and they go up that way. And then someone shoots them and they come this way. And there's like, could be 60 to 100 doe. There's a lot of them. So we get close to the saddle, and sure enough, the deer are going back and forth. And every once in a while, they'll stop, and they'll go up this little ravine. And then someone will run them out of that. They're just running them around. That's all they're doing. So I told her, I said, I'm going to show you how to get to those deer. And every time the deer would run by, we would only move a little bit. And the goal is just to not hear yourself move, which most hunters don't have that concept these days, right? Quiet. You know you're really good when you're a bird hunter and you got your shotgun and there's a deer. So you go so quiet, the deer doesn't know you're there. He's looking at you You have your shotgun, but he's looking, but he's like, I've had deer stare at me for 10 freaking minutes, 30 feet away. They're looking, they're looking, they're looking. And finally, they just turn and they start eating. And then you move a little more, right? So these deer, they're going back and forth on the saddle. And I mean, us highway, we're doing our job. And now she's got it down. That girl could hike way quieter than me. Toe first, not heel first. Toe, stay off your heel. Stay off your heel, right? Right? Okay. And the deer would go by and we'd move a little more. We did that for like 2 hours. 2 hours. And finally, I made a mistake. I know what my mistake was. I wanted to get her on the uphill side so we could sit down and watch them go back and forth. So we crossed the trail and we sat down. And the deer had went that way. So we sat down. And when we were going up, the deer went this way. We crossed the trail, sat down, which now I'm facing opposite, so they're this way. And here come the deer. They were so close we could have taken a pebble and hit them, right? And you got all these guys pot shotting these deer from like, and they're dope. It's like pot shotting them, right? But I'll never forget. I could have hit them with a pebble, but all of a sudden they stopped, and it was like, I don't know, it was like 60 or 70 or 80 deer all went that way in a line. And it's because the first one caught my scent on the trail and went that way. Anyway, I'm not trying to sit here and yik yak, but it's really sad that, like, I don't know, it's like it's hunting season right now. And I know right now all the places I used to hunt, that I used to hunt them with the hunter's attitude and respect to big game and respect to the outdoors and respect to other hunters. Now we just got all these people in there and they don't know what they're doing. They don't think with their brains. Someone's going to get shot up there sooner or later. Probably already have. So yeah, it's a different world we live in for the hunter. And I'm telling you, we got all these people watching right now. If you are of that mentality, I want you to change. You know, just because you're that way doesn't mean you can't change. But don't be that goofball that when you get there, don't be a convenience hunter. Plan your trip. Plan your trip. You know, your trip doesn't plan. You know, I think tomorrow I'll get up. No, your trip started 3 months ago. Hopefully, by getting out and shooting your rifle, getting really good with. You got to know how to shoot offhand. Sorry to tell you that, but where we're at in the desert, you don't always have something to. You don't always have something to brace on. You just don't, right? You know, you can take a shooting stick with you, but I just know so many other ways to wrap my rifle, my sling around my arm, which is why my dad taught me, right? And what's funny is you see all these people, everyone's got shooting sticks. I'm not against a shooting stick, but everyone has one. Everyone has one, you're right. But I don't think they all use them, you know. So, you know, a hunting to me is masterminded out months before. And your direction is north. Everything's north that you're doing. You're going to go up and you're going to scout your area. You're going to get comfortable with your rifle shooting it in another area very far away. You're going to know the movement of the sun versus where you're going to sit. You're going to know the general wind direction. You're going to know all that stuff. And then you're going to know when you're going to get there, right? And you're going to get up super early. You're going to get up earlier than coffee wants to get up. It's true. Those are the guys that generally get the deer, right? And so, you know, don't be that guy where, you know, it's okay if all of a sudden you decide to go hunting one day because you didn't plan it. That's okay. But when you get up there, don't just get out and slam your door, you know. You get up there and go hunting. Don't be sitting there Yank, 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 yank. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you this. I know a lot of you are going to know this. Won't be no surprise. But I would love to have $1 for every time I was up sitting down hunting and I was out waiting a buck that I knew he was there. And I watched 10 hunters walk by and that buck never got up. And hunters wonder why they don't get a deer. I always ask someone this when they say, "Oh, I didn't see nothing." I say, "Oh, really? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?" "Oh, well, we went here." "Oh, how far did you hike?" "Oh, we went 5 miles." 5 miles? Really? And how long? Oh, all day? Yeah, 5 miles. We went 5 miles in a day. A day. Well, let's see. If you would have got there 2 hours before dark, right, and start inching your way in and then stop at a point, and then just as the sun starts coming up, you begin creeping. 5 miles in a day, no wonder you didn't see any deer, but all the deer saw you. Every one of those deer, right? So anyway, that's my yik yak about hunting. I'm not a great hunter. I'm really not, but I do know how to hunt. Anyway, any last questions? We're an hour and a half into this. I'm going to go check on my pork roast pretty quick. But any questions? Who do we have out there? We have 19 on. You know, I'd say there's a lot of bad hunters today because they just want it like easy. They just want like the easy hunt, you know. John Eifert, it's good to see you, brother. It's good to see you. I am thinking that I don't know. I thought taking Miss Highboy out and just getting out in the next couple of weeks and just going out and see what it looks like out there. Problem is, I have no room in my freezer for any meat. I could smoke it all and turn it into jerky. All right, well, I'm going to wind it down. All right, I want to thank everybody. I hope this was a good video, a good live stream. I don't know what I'll put out this week for videos. This is going to be my last really busy week at work. So hopefully after this week, you'll see a little bit more of me. I'll be on the forum more, and it'll be cooled off. So there we go. We got awesome Michael Swarm in the house. All right, guys, here we go. God bless you all. Have a very good week, and I appreciate you. And we'll see you guys on the next. And I'm out.